Zoe Lawton, aka Lawless, primarily associated with a decentralized group calling themselves the Lawbreakers.
The names pick you, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Looks like you ran with the gang known as the Robins when you were in Gotham.
I'd never be caught in the streets wearing spandex and short shorts.
Yeah, well, we have our intel. We'd just like to hear it from you. Please answer the question.
You gotta ask one first, Captain Boy Scout.
But damn it.
She's got you there, Colonel.
Let's try this again, kid. You're a criminal influencer?
That's pretty reductionist of you.
It's the truth.
It's your truth, maybe. The truth, though, that's subjective.
Kids these days with your roundabout... You made your point.
Always do, Ricky.
Don't call me that. Let's just get back to... What was that?
Ugh.
That better be Brainiac at the door, or there's gonna be hell to pay. Let the record show I'm permitting Floyd Lawton to sit in on these sessions rather than attempt to eavesdrop through several inches of steel door. For now.
We're gonna go back a bit now. How's things with your mom?
You don't have to answer that. She's not answering that. Next question.
Thanks, Dad. I wouldn't have ever done that on my own. My mom should be great, by the way.
Oh yeah, you're right. I just... This is your show. Run it.
Okay, so what about schooling?
She's not telling you shit about...
God, Dad, please.
Hey, both of you, cool your jets so we can get back on task. Let the record show that, once again, Floyd Lawton is being allowed in this session on the grounds that he has to keep his composure in council. He is currently glaring.
Weren't we supposed to be getting through a government-mandated, definitely not an interrogation?
It's just some questioning to get our records in order. Your parents had a good relationship. You had good grades at one of the most prestigious schools in the country. How'd you start with...
Oh, what, stealing from the rich? Same way they started stealing from everybody else, probably.
Right. We placed you at the Gotham Historical Society's annual ball 3 years running, no invite in sight.
If you already know all about it, why even bother asking? Try something you don't know.
Sure. How'd you find out about the situation in Metropolis? And how'd you get here?
Nah, my daughter is no snitch, and you ain't gonna make her out to be one. What the hell even is this? Interrogating a teenager?
Predictable. Stop recording and get him out of my interrogation room.
Guess I can assume we won't have both Lawtons today.
Yeah, no. Dad's got some work to do on his temper still.
Fair enough. Tell me about your tech then. Why the goggles?
Debris, duh. Who wants stuff flying in their eyes all the time? Plus, I look cool.
Retrofitted alien optics, according to the nerds. Huh, that Kaluan readout. Just for show, or are you learning a new language?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's gone great historically.
And just how did you manage all the dimension hopping?
Getting where I'm not meant to be is my whole bag. I mean, who's the ones who left all these holes in the fabric of reality wide open?
Those holes are government property. Just tell me how you used them.
Internet, cord search engine's pretty okay.
You want me to believe you solved interdimensional travel with just a website and a couple words?
Anything's possible with the right plugins.
I think we can talk to each other frankly, Miss Lawton.
You can think that, sure.
And little quips like that are why. You have potential.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
You're smart, resourceful, perceptive. You just lack experience.
Yeah, okay, I'm not actually down for any unpaid internships or whatever you're pushing right now.
There's a lot of paths forward, Miss Lawton. And I can think of a few that'll get you further than railing fruitlessly against whatever authority is right in front of you.
Yo, you know what's funny? Pretty much every principal I've ever had said the same thing.
When you get down to it, your whole deal is equity for all, isn't it?
Depends on how you define equity.
I define it as a leveled playing field. Everyone on the same footing, without the advantages or disadvantages.
That's not what equity is. Okay, whatever.
Well, it's what it has to be when one depressed man from another planet can casually take over a major city in a few days.
Alright, I'll bite. Now, how does all this make an equitable world?
We need control to get there. Reliability and dependability. Stability. A path to equity. Order.
Wow, that's wild because that sounds a lot like a setup to a fascist dictatorship.
Give it some time. You'll start seeing what I'm talking about here. I'm surprised you don't have more questions.
I mean, it's a question of working for an oppressive force or not, and there's not a lot to tease out there.
That's just your youth showing again. I was a lot like you once. Saw an opportunity to hopefully do good. Joined up without enough details. Sound familiar?
Yeah, totally! Changing the system from the inside always works out so well for everyone involved.
But I was damn good at my job, and I worked my way up. I got to pick the missions. I got to pick the team. I got to push for the changes I wanted.
You also run a prison that you pluck convicts out of, plant bombs in, and make fight like toy soldiers, so...
That's because that's who I am, and how I do things. Now tell me something, Zoe. Who would you be? And let's wrap things up before your father breaks down my door.
Hey, Mr. Penguin Man! What you doing?
Now, I don't like saying this to a kid, but you ain't really a kid. So piss off.
Rude? I just wanted to ask you about Gotham. There aren't many people left to ask who aren't dead or weird, and Harley gets awkward when I try to talk to her about it.
Oh, I bet she bleeding does. Some people got skeletons in their past they'd rather keep there.
Oh, I love skeletons! Do you want to talk about your skeletons? You know, the ones from when you were younger?
No.
Don't you want to remember all the good times you had being a big, bad villain?
Not right now, I'm busy. Maybe later.
I'll take that! Bye, Pangy!
Cool, I'll give you bloody pinky.
Pangy, I'm back! So, where shall we start? Oh, I know. Tell me about your greatest capers! That's the word, right? Capers? Feels wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Not sure what they're calling them these days. Can't keep track of the lingo you kids use.
Huh. I don't know what words the kids are using, but Toyman might.
Really gets my goat that villains these days got no work ethic. Where's the grind? Show me a villain who's actually willing to do the hard graft.
Oh, I love grafting! Beautiful things can come from the joining of two very different plants.
And another thing, there's no proper villains in Metropolis. First, the Justice League scared them off, and now look at this lot. They're out doing hero shit.
But, Bengi, you're also doing hero.
Gah, like I have a bloody choice. Got a bleeding bomb in my head, haven't I?
We all have them?
Right, that's it. Never mind the bomb. You're doing me head in. Go do one.
I've been wondering, if villains these days are so lame, what were they like in the good old days?
Oh, love, where do I even start? There was none of this anti-hero carry-on. You were a hero or a villain. Simple.
But what if a villain did bad things for good reasons?
Now, I'm gonna lay a piece of wisdom on you. You ready? If you do bad things, you're a bad guy. End of.
I feel like some of this might be a morally gray area.
Morally grey area. Tell you what, how'd you like me to teach you to be a proper villain?
I'll consider it. What format will our lessons take?
Yeah, mostly I'll talk at you and you'll listen.
Doesn't sound like the best way to take on information, but okay.
Brilliant. We'll get started tomorrow. I gotta get some stuff written down first. Hey, you! Write some stuff down for me.
I'm here for my villain lesson.
Good. Class is in session. So, an important part of being a proper villain is goons. You gotta have them, or you look like a right amateur, see?
Okay, but can anything be a goon, or do they have to be meat sacks? Because I have my plans to do my bidding, but I would never call them goons, because that's just...
No, the next thing you need to know about goons is how to keep them in line. I prefer a surprise kneecapping from time to time. Really keeps them on their toes.
So they do have to be meat sacks. And how much do you pay a goon?
Oh, love! Till they find out about unions, we're golden! Now, layers. I like mine a little ritzy, a little bit of flooding, a little frigidity. Creates a nice aesthetic.
Oh, I've already thought about this. My lair would have vines and lily pads and nothing man-made at all.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And last thing for today, diversions. Now, the best way to get do-good and hero types out of the way is threaten innocent people. For example, yours truly rigged the Justice Day Stadium to blow sky high. Was never gonna happen, but ain't no way that tosser Superman was getting up in my business that day.
Did I ever do anything like that? You know, in the good old days?
All the time, love. You were a proper terror.
Okay, I have a topic I'd like to cover in our lesson today. What are the implications of using mind control to get meat sacks to be your goons?
Mind control? How should I bloody know? You'll have to talk to a meta about that, bollocks.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Did you ever team up with other villains?
Oh, did I? Even had a working arrangement with Harley a while back. You know what? The problem with villains is they're villains. Can't trust them as far as you can bloody throw them.
Oh, why were you throwing people? Oh, is this like the kneecapping?
Turn o' phrase. Anyway, what I'm really telling you is there ain't no honor among crooks. 1 minute you're partners, the next, bosh, knife in your back.
I wouldn't do that to you. I'd even let you come visit my lair sometimes.
You would? Oh, well, thanks, love. Ivy, good to see you, love. Put up a weapons crate. I've got something exciting to tell you.
Are we gonna do a caper? Are we partners? Should I find more goons?
No, love, no. Talking to you has made me realize I should write me memoirs. If I get snuffed out tomorrow because Task Force X shits the bed, who'll tell my story? Some do-good hero or, oh, heaven forbid, Lois Lane?
Ooh, have you started writing? Can I see?
As soon as it's done, you'll be the first to know.
Oh, I can't wait! I can check for grammar and punctuation. I've been going over it with Shark. Do you know about split infinitives?
Of course I bloody do. I was splitting infinitives before you were born. The first time. Anywho, I've been working on the title. What you think of Oswald Cobblepot, Godfather of Gotham?
Oh, how about Oswald Cobblepot, Penguin? Huh?
You know what? It's not half bad.
This is Waller. Report, Colonel. And please tell me you have something good.
Oh, I've got something better than good. Riddle me this, Director. What's got 8 legs, 8 arms, and nary a single functioning brain cell?
Riddler. Wonderful. If you haven't figured out why you didn't make the cut by now, you're not nearly as smart as you think.
Oh. Then explain this, head scratcher. Why would a tightly run ship like A.R.G.U.S allow yours truly unfettered access to their team of misfit toys? Answer. I know you appreciate my rigor.
And I know you're trying to scrape the Hall's databanks while you distract me with your pretentious yammering.
Well, that's certainly an uncharitable reading of things. Can't you just celebrate a curious mind in action? Besides, your secrets are safe with me, dear Director. Every last one of them.
How comforting. I know it's you, Nigma. The room tone has a certain desperate musk when you're on the line.
Ah, you know me so well, my dear Director. And I still have so much to learn about you. It hardly seems fair. You see, I've been doing some digging into your personal dossier. Yes, such a storied career. So much red ink.
Bullshit. There's no sign of you on our network. Besides, we Riddler-proofed our firewalls after your last spectacle.
Ah, and therein lies the glorious benefits of physical media. You know, people just don't sit down and read anymore, Director. If you ask me, it's an epidemic.
I didn't. What do you want, Nigma?
To offer a gentle reminder, Amanda, you may run Bell Rev in your little ad hoc circus act in Metropolis. But it's a big, scary world out there. And it's been so long since you've seen your family. So carefully tucked away from harm's reach. I mean, even their witness protection has witness protection.
Enough, Nigma. Save your big brain intimidation tactics for someone who hasn't seen you soil yourself on Arkham CCTV. Now, you can either get back to over-designing agility courses for those expendables, or keep pissing me off and see where that gets you. I'd recommend you give it some serious thought.
Ah, Director. Just the deep state delegate I had hoped to reach. I sense we are at a detente. I wasn't expecting your family to be such a hot-button topic.
You get a scrap of personal information and wave it around like the needy child you are, desperate for the grown-ups to validate your antics.
That's not an entirely fair representation of my acumen.
Remember when you very publicly hacked Colonel Flagg's dating profile? Colonel Flagg does, and he will come after you.
Well, then, give
me something good, damn it! Get me involved. Don't you have some encrypted Kaluan codes I could be cracking? Transmissions from the mothership? Maybe I could keep an eye out for your long-lost senior lapdog. You can surely see the magnitude of this, Director Waller. So many dimensions of data to sort through. And who more mentally equipped for the task than yours truly?
I'll take your selfless offer under consideration, Nigma.
Ah, Dr. Frias. I've been meaning to compliment you on your exquisite cryotechnology. Even I couldn't have done better.
Lex Luthor, what do you actually want?
Your cryotechnology, how portable would you say it is?
Immensely. I was forced to move Nora on multiple occasions, and there were no discernible drops in efficacy.
So moving it across a city would be trivial?
Across a city to the laboratory in LexCorp, perhaps? I assume the one in this world is still standing.
In this world?
Nora blew up the one in ours. Well, not blew up. She was monkey-wrenching a piece of tech that turned out to be more unstable than she had anticipated.
Interesting. I'm actually quite the marine biologist myself.
She hates you and everything that you stand for. Pretty sure that's traveled across dimensions.
And you, Dr. Frias, how do you feel about the Luthor legacy?
I can appreciate that pushing scientific boundaries comes with its share of gray areas.
If you have a moment, Dr. Frias, I'd like to discuss an ethical question with you.
Very well. What are we debating?
The implication of your technology being used to imprison the Justice League.
Putting a person into cryostasis isn't imprisoning them, so your point is moot.
Interesting. I offer this rebuttal. Unlike your wife, the Justice League weren't able to consent to being placed in those tubes.
Perhaps not, but those tubes are the most effective way to heal not only their broken bodies, but their minds.
I offer no argument to that. I just merely wonder if you have thought about the ethics of caging metahumans.
Well now, Lex Luthor concerned about ethics. Are we done dancing around the point of these little chats?
Oh, I don't dance, Doctor.
Luthor, are you ready to actually get to the crux of our conversation?
And that would be?
I see, as you wish. Well, perhaps instead we could examine where your deep-seated hatred of metahumans stems from.
Hate is such a strong word. Is it hateful to think that beings who can change the Earth's axial tilt should have to answer to a higher power? Or is it responsible?
I take it you aren't under the delusion that A.R.G.U.S should be this higher power.
One can't afford to be choosy in the apocalypse.
I'm no psychiatrist, but I suspect the real reason you feel that metas need to be controlled is because, despite all your money and privilege, they will always be superior to you.
Well, it would seem that having someone to have an intellectual conversation with is a double-edged sword. And yet, Doctor, our work is the backbone of this war effort. Don't we deserve to enjoy the fruits of our labors from a position of security? Just a little food for thought.
And there it is.
Miss Zoe Lawton, just the Gothamite I wanted to see.
That's suspicious. What do you want?
Just a little insider perspective. Everyone's just so cagey about the previous clown prince of crime. I'm definitely taking that, by the way.
Good for you. So, what do you want to know?
Well, what was he like before the maximum security prison and all the blood, before he got so, old?
He was a killer clown that wasn't funny.
Well, yes, that's what the others have said too, but
There had to be something there.
My guy, are you really having an identity crisis right here and right now?
Maybe?
You sure you want to know what it was like growing up in Gotham?
Absolutely. Gotta know what the crowd's expecting to see, especially if I want to flip it on its head.
Okay, let me set the scene from before first. Gotham's always been dangerous, and even more so if you're poor. The old money and mob families controlled everything.
Very standard big city fare, if I'm honest. Who hasn't had to pay an existence fee to a big Tony?
Then he showed up to be a problem for everyone. Ask Penguin sometime, it was wild.
But who doesn't love shaking up the status quo? You do that?
Well, no. See, because he was like a wildfire or a hurricane. Unpredictable, a force of nature, can't be stopped. You just gotta deal with it. So, the rich tried to point him away. Rumor has it they got Roman Sionis to whisper in his ear. Results varied.
Well, I at least hope it didn't always work. Can't have people thinking I'm that malleable. Where's the fun in that?
I'll link you some articles to read. Should be totally fun for you.
Zoe! Lawless? Lozzie? Anyway, there's a problem with all these stories you sent me.
None of them are funny?
Not a single one. Ghostly killer seen fleeing family murder scene. Where's the punchline?
Best guess was he got the wrong house. None of the street numbers in that neighborhood line up.
And this one. Crying, permanently smiling, hostage, only survivor of bank heist. It's so close to being something.
A postmodern art history teacher said it was commentary on the nature of capitalism. The photographer won an award, actually. Then Joker killed both of them.
Okay, that's pretty good. But these are really all just crimes with tacky calling cards. Where's the panache? How do you even get to be called the Joker with material this dry?
Yeah, Gotham news editors have never really been very creative. I mean, you've seen the villains' names. I think it's a universal constant.
Well, just looks like I'm going to have to show this world what the Joker can really be.
Good luck with that. I'm sorry, whatever. You probably want to deal with Brainiac first, though?
You're right. Step 1, secure the audience. Step 2, secure the exits.
My favorite little puzzle solvers. Ready to solve some little puzzles?
Oh, God, he's back again. Ain't you got nothing better to do? Like Sudoku and crosswords and those seek and find pictures?
You ingrates are last on my to-do list. I'm just efficient. Unlike some people who merely throw projectiles, I have a skill set others would die for. Why shouldn't I be proud of it?
Well, for one, our things ain't annoying as all hell. Who likes being confused by words?
I find puzzle solving very helpful when preparing to face Brainiac and his myriad offenses.
Sharko, pal, we can't go giving Edsy a head too big for his hat.
You see, I do a service to the benefit of all mankind and Sharkkind.
I was conservative in my first terraforming attempts. I chose uninhabited planets, only to be stymied by their lack of material. After too many of these failures, I had no choice but to select inhabited worlds. I began with the less developed, those that would minimize my impact. There were ethics to consider. It wouldn't do to have new Coluans mired by moral quandaries about their very existence, after all. Still, I encountered further failures, pushing me to more developed worlds. A lesser scientist would have balked, abandoned the entire venture. Then I found it, So like Kolu in makeup. Its atmosphere would need scrubbing. The indigenous flora and fauna removed. It was almost as if we had come home.